All right, we announced this early last week, and it's still a couple months away, but the Junkies Poker Open is back. Borgata Hotel, Casino and Spa. Yes, that is still up and running in Atlantic City because it's the shining star of the casinos in Atlantic City, and that's beautiful. Where we hold our Poker Open every year. It's back this year, Thursday, November 6th. You can register today, and we urge you to do so, at junkiespokeropen.com. It's all brought to you by our friends at Potomac Metals. So do sign up, get the room rate.
Get hooked.
Get locked in. We're going to have a party Wednesday night.
November 6th. So how many weeks is that, Cakes? Like 6 weeks away-ish?
Like 8 weeks.
8 weeks?
Yeah, roughly.
Be here before you
I know
it,
it will be.
And it'll be silly.
November 6th, that's like week 8 or 9 of the NFL season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right about now, we're going to be probably doing shots because it'll be, Thursday. We'll be doing shots, getting ready to head over to the poker room.
God, I do.
Scrambling to get like our registration because we always wait for the last second.
I'm gonna give my shot to some donk in the audience.
What will the Redskins record be on November 6th when we're at the JPL?
How many games in will they be?
I'm
At that point?
going to say 3-7.
They're not going to be that many games because they have
Let's
a bye week.
Let's just say it's
before.
9. 3 and 6.
4-5.
Everything.
4 and 5. I like that optimism.
Optimism.
Are you kidding? I'm
Yeah,
psyched.
you'll
Hey, that means they're 500 over their next 8.
That's pretty good.
I think 4 and 5 is optimistic.
Could be.
Week 9.
All right, so we got a couple of announcements coming up here.
We do.
We've got our weekly announcement from Bruce the Hugger. We could actually do that one first and kind of switch things up. He's usually right at the
No,
end
we
of the
got to
show.
end. We got to end on that one.
End
End
with
on Bruce.
That's tradition.
So you're going to give your announcement here.
Well, Valdez and I are, if you've listened to the show for more than 20 seconds, you know that Valdez and I are huge DGen sports bettors, sports gamblers.
Yep.
Especially college football. All right? College and pro football. And we've been talking about this for a few months. The Papa and Valdez are getting into the podcast business.
Oh, Jesus.
Big Fat Winners Radio will launch October 1st.
yes.
Is that what you're calling it?
Big Fat Winners
Big
Radio.
Fat Winners.
I like it.
Now, this is going to be, all right, this is not going to be like Dual Threat, which Drab and Bodie do, where they kind of break down. I've never even listened to it.
Yeah, I know. What is dual threat?
I'm
guessing.
guessing, guessing that they just break down games and they talk about strengths and weaknesses of the team.
They talk about
Conferences.
snuggling on the
Conferences.
couch together, watching college football
A lot
every
of
weekend.
Pac-12 jockeying.
Right. This is strictly going to be a gambling podcast. So we're going to go over lines and totes. We're going to talk about. We're going to recap our weekend from before. Talk about wins and losses. Talk
How
about how we
long
got
is the
bumped.
podcast set to be? Are we looking at an hour
Valdez.
or 2 hours?
It can be anywhere between 20 minutes up to an hour.
Oh, I would do
I
the
think
20
we're-
minutes. I would lean towards the 20-minute version.
We're gonna
100
have.
minutes.
We're gonna get guests on. We're gonna
You're
get.
going to do guests.
We're gonna get handicappers from around the country
Yes.
on.
Schedule-
Skippy going to be a guest?
Skippy is gonna
You'll be
be
involved.
featured. Yep.
For our first show, we're going to have Craig Davis on, who used to
Nice.
be our fantasy guy, and he
What
picked
about-
winners
We're
for
gonna get
us.
Brandon.
Why don't you get Stu?
We'll probably get Stu.
Yeah,
We're gonna
we'll
get Brandon
probably get
Lang
Stu.
involved
Stu
too.
Finer, look at me, I'm fat. I'm going to be on Big Fat Winners
But again,
Radio.
this is going to be a podcast strictly focused on betting on
Is
football.
Skippy going to be compensated if he's going to be a regular feature?
No.
Even though he wants
He
to,
still
no.
has to get his website up, mywayortheparlay.com.
It's a good memory.
What is that? His
But-
failed website?
Yeah.
But every Wednesday, we're going to post a weekly podcast
Yep.
on college football winners.
Right.
Very
We're
cool.
going to
Well,
give out
we're
winners.
talk a little bit of NFL as well.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to feel bad?
But it's going to be mostly college football.
Well, how are you going to do this? Like, let's say you go on a losing streak,
I will feel devastated.
right?
There's a lot of pressure.
it's a
Yeah.
lot of pressure.
But we'll talk
Happens.
about it because I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of gamblers go through losing streaks.
Of course.
And we'll talk our way through it.
Big Fat Winners Radio.
Big Fat Winners Radio, Valdez and I, featuring a bunch of people from around the country, launched October 1st.
Very cool.
and how do people listen to it again if they want to hear it?
Valdez,
It'll be under the Junkies podcast section
right?
and CBS Radio.
And you'll
He's
tweet
your
about
spokesman?
Yes.
it. And you'll tweet about it.
Yeah, and I'll tweet about it. I'll tweet links to download it and everything, but it'll be right there with all of the Junkies podcasts.
Now let me ask you,
as
how are
well.
you going to do this? Now, Jason, you're a polished professional. You've been doing this for 18 years. He's a donk, right? He's
He is
now
kind of a
going. He's
donk.
coming from behind
He'll-
the scenes.
He'll
now.
raise his game.
No, you're
just
going to be
working
the guy
with
that
me.
leads
Rising
the show.
tide lifts all boats.
I mean, there aren't going to be any breaks because it's just a dumb podcast.
But
Right.
it's going to be taped, so I can edit out all the
Yeah.
dumb pauses.
Well, we're going to have to do some sort of break because we're going to have to get
the commercial.
the guests,
Oh,
the guests involved. So we can't
Yeah.
just say, hey, let's just call Brandon Lang right now. I mean, we're going to have some sort of editing.
Yeah.
So look, it might be a work in progress for the first couple, but it's going to be fun.
Good luck, dream come
especially,
true.
especially if you are a gambler.
Jason, this is really a dream come true. It's an opportunity. If there are listeners that don't know, you can kind of set the scene that you used to sports gamble when you were an early teenager over at Skippy's house with his mom. Can you kind of
Sarah
set the
T.
scene?
Sarah
Tell
T.
us,
and
tell
Joe
us
T.
how it all started for
Joe
you.
T.
Some days
Rest
I
in
make
peace.
20 bets.
I started gambling on sports when I was probably 16.
Right.
And I would go. My first bookie was this guy named Mark, who I met through this guy Skippy Scott Torgrosa, who lives out in Colorado.
You're doing last names again.
That's all right. I'm not killing the guy. So I would go over to his house on Saturday mornings. We'd talk about all the lines and totals. And his mom and his dad were also big gamblers. So we would sit there on Saturdays from 11 a.m.
The mom too.
The mom too,
Tell
Sarah
the
T.
mom, like what Sarah would
Sarah
look
T,
through
she
the
would-
lines.
She would look through the lines and she would rock in her chair. They all had rocking chairs and they all would rock in their chairs.
Right.
And I would sit there on the steps in the kitchen and we would just talk about games and we
You'd
would
be
throw
like a
cash.
sophomore in high school.
Sophomore or junior.
Right.
I was bagging my bookie last night too. We would just bet on games from 11 until
what would-
11.
Would Sarah ever have good nuggets? Would she ever have good tingles?
She did all kinds of research. She was such a loser, though. She would pick
She was the boss.
loser after loser after loser.
Well,
Give me the voice, because you used to do.
No, I
come
can't
on,
do
give me
that.
a.
But
What would Sarah's angle typically? Did she like to do teases? Did she like totals? What
Did
what
she
did
do a
Sarah
bet
like
she
to
loved
say?
she loved betting on LSU.
She'd be like, Scotty, what
For
do you
so-
think of Texas A&M
for
this
some
week?
reason, she loved LSU.
Right.
So she would play LSU every week.
Right.
But
She loved Jerry. Was it Jerry DiNardo at the helm?
I
at
can't
that
remember.
So
who
point?
the
this
coach
is
was. This was
really-
like 1987.
If in 1986 or 87, if somebody said someday you're going to host your own sports gambling show, when you were watching the Duke on TV, I got winners.
Right, the Duke. Oh, we got to get the Duke on somehow. If the Duke's alive, we got to get the Duke on.
And Dr. Bob.
Yeah, we're going
He's
to get all
still
that. So
around.
it's going to be fun.
And,
October
and
1st.
Valdez, when did it start for you?
I was 17 or 18, and I remember sitting like in a cafeteria with my buddies, and it was two of my buddies, and each of us picked a baseball game, and we had a 3-game parlay.
Uh-huh.
How about all three of us lost our game too?
Of course.
Yeah.
Did
But you were
bet
hooked.
through?
Yeah, but I was hooked after that. What?
Who did you bet through at that point?
I think that was the start of the online craze. So
Okay.
Bodog.
I would personally stay away from Bodog. I had some issues back in the day.
Oh, if they had online books back in
Did
high
you
school
have
for me.
issues, or did somebody named
Oh,
Jay?
yeah, I'm sorry. J.A. from Oldie?
Yeah.
Whoever that guy is, he had a lot of issues with Bodog.
All right, so when does it start again?
October 1.
October
October
1st.
1st,
You'll
very
have
nice.
the debut episode.
Why aren't you doing it
Exciting
sooner? You're just
news.
pushing it off.
Well, that's
That's a corporate decision.
it's a corporate thing.
They're part of like a whole podcast network.
There's going to be
a
gonna
big
be an-
release, a big launch of all their
Exactly.
new
yeah,
sillies.
yeah.
And if you want to check out a live radio show, listen to Dual Threat on Saturday mornings.
Dual Threat. I've listened to Dual Threat before.
Yeah. You have?
Oh, yo, you're the one.
I'm sure.
A lot of competition here.
What happened to the Dual
Oh,
Threat?
stop being so defensive.
What happened? One of their big themes
You know
was
I'm
a Dual
kidding.
Threat road trip where they were going to go to some big college football game. Whatever happened to that?
We ran out of money.
They were doing
Bodie
like
got
almost like
got a job with Navy.
They
He
were-
does the pregame show.
They honestly were. They were doing almost like a tournament and having people kind of narrow down the choices. It
Right.
was like kind of a running theme throughout the Dual Threat
Hey, you know what?
shows.
You guys can take a road trip with Propaganda Pete to,
And so-
to Texas for the next Navy
Eventually,
game.
if it went from like
That's
the
right,
Sweet
Texas State.
16 to the grade 8 to the Final Four, eventually they're supposed to go on this road trip with
Yeah,
all the
but
Dual
they're
Threat
felted.
listeners.
They don't have any cash to go on a trip.
We're down to West Virginia, Baylor, and
Yeah, because they can
Morgantown.
road trip. They can drive 3.5 hours.
Well,
to
that'll be a great
Morgantown.
game to see, though.
Yeah, but we were going to go to LSU.
I know you want to
Alabama.
go to SEC.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Tight funds.
SEC Nation.
All right, but when does that show air?
7 a.m. Saturday mornings
All
on
right,
the
that-
fan.
That's a good
On
time.
the fan.
I'll be thinking about you, Drab, while I'm on my
Everybody will
flight
be
to
up.
Vegas.
You're joking.
Oh, by the way.
we do our show at 6 a.m.
Hold on, Valdez.
During the week.
Valdez, you're going to Vegas. You won't be here tomorrow for the Fatty segment. What's your release?
My release, my big fatty. This is so fat that it's got to buy two seats on an airplane. It's Georgia Southern catching 20 points.
Against
they
Georgia
play
Tech.
Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech has a look-ahead game at Virginia Tech. Georgia Southern.
You're tying your broadcast
I know,
career to that.
You're gonna be ruined.
Maybe you should
Georgia
just be
Southern
behind the
runs-
scenes guy.
Georgia Southern runs the same offense as Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Pound them. Actually, sprinkle a little money line too.
All right, Georgia Southern.
And
All right.
those picks
we'll do Fatties tomorrow.
For
on
the
our-
time
four
being,
of us.
those picks are up on the Junkies Facebook page. You can check out all of our picks from last week, where I think collectively between 8 of us we were 2-6. including Pete Medhurst.
That's
not a good- that's not a good
Ewok.
record.
That's
we
okay.
posted.
It's all right.
No,
We'll
just-
come back strong this
It's
week.
a lock if you fade
And
us.
by the way,
You'll win.
my game was I lost because of an act of God. Can we get an
Well,
asterisk?
that's what
there?
happens. That's
Please.
what happens every week.
You did get bung
I
job.
mean,
on that.
I just got screwed.
See, and that's the type of stuff we'll talk about on Big Fat Winners Radio.
Look how excited Jason is.
I know.
I've never seen Jason excited.
I'm not that
for
excited.
Something extra.
You know why I'm excited?
Ever.
You know why I'm excited?
this show's
because
over.
this song is playing.
All right, closing time.
Yeah,
Let's punch
that's why
up
I'm
Bruce
excited.
real quick because I think he has an announcement as well.
Oh, he does?
May not be as big as
Maybe
Big
he-
Fat Winners Radio.
If he has his own podcast, then I'm taking my pants off. Bruce.
Good morning, Junkie.
Hey,
I got two announcements.
Two
to make.
announcements.
Go
Huge.
ahead. Go ahead, Bruce.
Dad said I could come in for my birthday party,
Okay, birthday party.
Okay,
cool.
so
When is
Bruce-
that?
the 17th.
Oh, very nice. So
Bruce
that's next
birthday
week.
bash.
Oh, here in studio.
Next
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Hey, Cake. After the show, can I buy some Smarties?
That's a good thing. Yeah, I'll have to go and load up on a 5-pound bag. But yes, I would sell you some Smarties.
so-
You know what? I'm so nice, I would give them to you, Bruce.
Right, Bruce. So we're going to see you next week, okay?
Okay.
All right. Love you, buddy.
Bye.
All right. Bye. Hey, Case,
Bye.
you want for Bruce, bring your locker in
I would
and
laugh
have
that
him
hard in a while.
choose a few
I'd be happy to do that.
snacks.
I'll bring in Smarties, Tootsie Roll Pops,
Let him
and
pick.
anything he wants.
He can
You
pick
get
his
the
snack.
point,
Sure.
though, Cakes. It's Smarties that he's buying.
You think I didn't understand that?
That was classic.
Please.
Genius.
We got to go out on that one.
All right,
man.
Genius.
We got to get out of here. We'll see you tomorrow. Grant and Dan are up next on The Fan.